Surprise, motherfucker! What's up? This is your friendly neighborhood Venger Satanis in a hotel room in Lake Geneva. Completed day one of my convention experience here at GaryCon 2025. So it's Thursday. Got up at like 9 a.m. And yeah, got here like 10:30. Checked in. I had a game at 12. Got my badge. Realized after I lugged like 50, literally 50 pounds worth of stuff to like the main convention area, realized that both of my games that I was running today were at the Timber Ridge Lodge, which is like, I don't know, a mile down the road. So because the parking was like way, way, way out there. So you need to like take a trolley or whatever to. So I took a trolley to the main place, and I unloaded, and then I realized where my games were, and then I took my stuff and I loaded it back up into another trolley. It took me to the right place, and I unloaded that. Luckily, my next game is also in the same place, so in the morning, and so I can leave my stuff, my 50 pounds worth of stuff, there, like in the corner of the room. They said that was cool, so awesome. So I'm already kind of prepared for that aspect. But anyway, yeah, I ran two games. Um, Both Chalt. The first one, I had 6 players, 3 returns, which was interesting. A couple guys that I played in one of my Chalt games either last year or the year before. And then one girl that was in, or woman, I should say, that was in one of my early Chult ones at GameholeCon like 4 years ago. And I didn't really recognize her, but now that I think about it, I was like, yeah, that's. As soon as she said, like, oh, I think I've been in the Black Pyramid before, I'm like, what? And then she's like, in one of the games you ran before, and I immediately remembered, like, oh yeah, she was in that game. That was a weird one because that took place at GameholeCon, like, kind of over the Halloween weekend, and I wanted to do kind of like a Halloween theme, and I don't know why, but I just wanted like a darker, more nihilistic kind of, what do they call it? Lamentations of the Flame Princess. Like a nega dungeon or something, or something that was like, I don't know, more downbeat, I guess. And everybody in that Chult scenario slash universe died when like it was all overtaken by this green ooze or something like that. I don't know, but I remember her and the other people that were playing it, and one guy, after I blogged about that session, was criticizing me, and he didn't like the game and didn't think I was a good GM or something like that. And there was a little bit of back and forth with that guy, and maybe that's one of the reasons that I remember that session so well. I don't know, but um, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it was fun having like 3 more players, and then this in the second game, 5 players, and then one guy that was in my Alpha Blue game last year, and he's the guy that wanted my signature, um, which was really really cool. He was like, "I want 2 people's signature, like yours and someone, maybe Errol Otis or something like that." And I was just like, "Oh my god, I feel like flattered and honored." And anyway, it's just really cool. I started the both scenarios, the same basic scenario, the way it started, but they both ended. The middle towards the end was all like similar vibe but different. Um, so they both started with a dramatic reading. I got that sort of idea for the what the dramatic reading was about from the movie Cabin in the Woods. And those two guys that are like in their office. They're not in the office, but in that like underground facility, and they're like just talking back and forth. I was like, oh, I kind of want something like that. And then they like appear later in the scenario, and I don't know. So I wrote this little script out. It's just 2 pages, and I gave it to two people that I asked for volunteers basically. In both scenarios, 2 people immediately raised their hand. So I was like, cool. I did the like narrator voiceover part. Um, so yeah, that went well. Everybody enjoyed it, got a kick out of it. Plus, it was like really big in like world building and lore, and kind of set the scene a little bit. It was also funny, and I got a kick out of reading it. Everybody did a great job with the reading. I mean, it was like a real movie, almost. So yeah, that went well. People used the Chult X cards. They ask good questions like, can I use it now, or does it have to be in conjunction with like something else? I'm like, you can just stimulate the card, the Chult X card, pretty much whenever, and then we'll do our best. At one point, the woman from the first group casted mesmerizing magenta mist around this like sort of bronze bowl, like bird bath, but filled with Zoth. And she wanted to make it more distracting, so she pulled one of those cards. And I said that her magic also created these tentacles. Well, there were a lot of tentacles around because it was at the top of this black ziggurat. Um, Made of obsidian, and anyway, so there was a lot of tentacles, and so I said her magic sort of not personified, but anthropomorphized the tentacles, and then someone else was like, or then someone else wanted to pull like humor the card, and one of the other players said something about like throwing a pie in someone's face, and so I said that like the tentacles were like I don't know, they conjuring these little cream pies and like throw them at each other, and so everybody was distracted like looking at this, and I don't know. That's just an example of like something that happened in the game that you could never predict like ahead of time what weirdness would come out of stuff. Um, but yeah, that was cool. What else we got? Oh, I forgot to give. So I made a character like a quick start or a bare bones character sheet on a note card that I gave to everybody. So I gave that to the everybody in the first game right away, which I should have done in the second game. But apparently, it was like 2/3 through the second session before I realized, like, oh, you guys don't have cards. I forgot to give them to you because I'm an idiot. And so, but they were fine with that, and they were like, that's cool. And then we talked about like other game masters that kind of like don't want the players to know much about the game or the rules or have character sheets, and talked about like Dave Arson a little bit, and that was cool. So some people thought that like heightened the game. So I handed everybody kind of a basic rundown cheat sheet of like all the pre-generated characters, all 7 of them. So people could pick. So they had like a little paragraph of like what their character was about. They just didn't have the nuts and bolts like hit points, armor class, whatever. But everybody role played really well. It was really good. Both sessions were really funny. There was a lot of humor. Um, that was good. I sold some books. Um, a few of the rule sets. The print-on-demand Amazon ones, Advanced Crimson Dragon Slayer, and then a couple of the other ones, the Chalt Experience, and I think Advanced Game Mastering Like a Fucking Boss, and the other one I brought, Primordial Chaos, and then a Chult book. Um, so one of the things that came out of the game, which was really cool, um, there was one woman playing in the second session, and she was playing a pixie fairy, and she wanted to have this poison pixie fairy dust, and I thought that was an interesting idea, and I was like, "Can you describe it a little bit more?" And she's like, "Well, it's kind of like this glitter that I can put on someone, or I could like maybe coat my weapon in it and stuff like that." I'm like, okay. Um, so I had this idea, which I've had for a while, and I just haven't really codified it. But I said, and sometimes just unconsciously, I'll ask a player to like justify it. So I asked her like, where does it come from? And then based on her backstory, she spent a lot of time in the deserts, and um, there were glitter storms, and the glitter just like got caught in her like clothing and her jacket and just everywhere. It's hard to get that stuff out. Like going to the beach and getting sand all over. So I asked her that, and then I asked her. I wanted to go a little bit deeper. I wanted a little bit more of an answer, more of her thinking, and not that I like to see people struggle, but I like it when players struggle a little bit to come up with a creative answer for something. Not just because I know that struggle, what that means. And that means that they're digging a little bit deeper than they ordinarily would to come up with something that's creative and cool and maybe gameable, um, within the context of the world and their character, and I feel like it's more immersive. And since that's the goal and the key to this whole thing, I reward that. Um, so yeah, first I asked for her to like explain a little bit more, and then where did it come from, and then how did you acquire it, and and then yeah, when she fulfilled all those and answered those three things, I'm like, okay, yeah, you have it. That's something you have now, your character, and that you can use during the session. And so that was cool. She got a kick out of that. Everybody else enjoyed it. And then when she was able to use it finally. That was also cool. Um, there's some. I tried to write more. I should have written down more. I wish I had like a note taker, um, or was able to record the sessions. But there were a lot of encounters with fruities, and the Black Pyramid, and tragically delicious is is yeah, is a phrase that came up. After eating the fruities, whatever that fruit taste is, you'll never fully get that out of your mouth. So the next time you eat something, it'll have like a little hint of raspberry or lemon or a mango or whatever the fruit happens to be. I thought that was kind of funny, because there was some there was some fruity tasting after the fruities died, either by the hands of the PCs, or sometimes they were allied with the fruities and then by other people. I don't know. That was kind of funny. Um, yeah, a lot of yeah, tentacle pie fight. Yeah, a lot of things that you're just like, wow, yeah, this is the game. This is this is fucking insane and gonzo and crazy. I think that is the main things. But yeah, it was just a good time. Hard to make a session last 4 hours, especially when you're doing a lot of riffing and improvising, um, and just that con game vibe. It's like the players are constantly like looking at you, the game master, to see like, oh, like what's going on, and like did that work, and like what should we do now, and you know, I don't know. It just seems like in a campaign, there's a little bit more like the players like doing stuff kind of on their own, or they have a little bit more agency. I don't know. It just feels like at a convention, the game master is more on and like constantly has to like keep feeding the players like information and encounters, and maybe that's just I don't know a weird perception that I have. It might be right, might be wrong. Um, I don't know, but yeah, I tried to make the sessions go like 3.5 hours, and I did for the first one, and I fell a little bit short for the second one. It was more like 3 hours and 15 minutes, I think. It's hard to like reach that peak and like keep it going. Um, but for the second session, even though it was a little on the shorter side, I mean everybody clapped, which was a little weird and made me forget to do the outro. I did the intro on both. I did the outro in the first session, but I forgot to do the outro for the second session, the closing ritual or invocation. Um, so yeah, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, but very high energy, and like there was a lot of role playing, a lot of exploring. And the combat is really short, and there are very few of them. Most of the players did everything they could to avoid combat. And one of the reasons that I included combat kind of earlier on in the session, I planned for a couple combats within the first, you know, 30, 40 minutes, is because that's a fun, exciting thing that people generally like. Usually players like that, and player characters are geared towards that. Not necessarily that all that much in Chult or Advanced Crimson Dragon Slayer, but still. But all the players did everything they could to like de-escalate tense situations where violence could break out, and try to like subdue or use like deception or something like that, rather than like outright like stabbing people. Um, I don't know, weird. I didn't anticipate that, and that plus the Crimson escalation makes combat, faster, more brutal, just shorter. Um, that's just there's more time that the players are exploring, and the PCs are socially interacting with other people in the setting, in the world. So like let's say a 3 hour game for me. I mean, I kind of feel like it's like a 5 hour game for someone just playing regular D&D, because they probably rely a lot on combat and like round after round after round of the battle. Whereas in two or three rounds, combats are over, generally speaking, in my games. And so I can't rely on padding the session with like endless combats. Um, and the combat for the game master, generally speaking, unless you have a really complex system, is the easy part. All you have to do is just like, okay, you go, and then I go, and then dice rolling, and like this, subtract this number from this number, and cross this little guy off on my sheet with an X, and then I tried to include descriptions too, but generally you can include just like two or three descriptions of the violence that happens, or whatever. per round, and then that's done. With social interaction and exploration, you kind of have to like keep talking and like go and go and go, and you always have to have a response. And if they ask a question, you have to know like what the answer is. It's just a little bit more exhausting. But it's great. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, for me, a 3 hour game probably feels like a 5 hour game to most game masters. Um, Especially when I'm like kind of making things up and ad libbing and, like I said, improvising. Any kind of spontaneous creativity, takes it out on you a little bit. It takes a toll, like a sorcerer casting a spell. It drains you a little bit, little bit. At 2 sessions, almost back to back, um, for almost 8 hours. That's a lot. It was a great time, and I'm glad I did it. But I was tired afterward, and yeah, I'm kind of relaxing in the room. I got 2 sessions tomorrow, and in between though, I have a lot of downtime, so I'm gonna actually like be able to walk around a little bit, check out the other room, like the dealer's room. Hopefully, see some people I know and um, chill and hang out and whatever else. So that's it for now. This is part one. I'll probably come up with a part two tomorrow night, I would think. Okay, bye.